Filmmaker Spike Lee has been a New York Knicks fan since his childhood days in Brooklyn. In the fall of 1969, he was a 12-year-old hoping the Knicks would steal an NBA title from Bill Russell's Celtics, who had won 10 of 11 previous NBA titles. Spike's hope has proved to be never-ending, and today he has become a permanent fixture at almost every Knicks game. In his new book, Best Seat in the House, a basketball memoir, he tells how he worked his way down from the nosebleed section to courtside, and I am pleased to have him especially this evening. We tape this show this Friday at about 5 o'clock so that you can get to the Garden at 8 o'clock in order to watch your New York Knicks without Patrick.
Not only my team, but without Patrick.
My team, too.
Everybody's team. Without Patrick, without Allen Houston and Charlie Ward.
Yeah, and you firmly believe, and this is not sort of whistling in the dark,
now they're gonna win.
They're going to win.
They're going to win tonight.
How are they going to win?
Because they're going to win. They only have 9 players.
Like my mother. Why can't I do this? Because. Because what? Because I said so.
No, Charlie, seriously, other players are going to step up. The energy tonight in the Garden is going to be unbelievable. They're going to draw on the ghost of Willis Reed.
Yes, I know, hobbling out.
When Willis hobbled out.
Yeah.
Under the court for Game 7 against the Lakers, the game we talk about in the book where I went to, and also, in fact, Game 5 that series, when Willis went down in the beginning of the game, the Knicks came back and won and beat LA and had Dave DeBusschere and Dave Stolp holding Wilt Chamberlain and still beat him. So they're going to win tonight.
All right. Tell me, I'll come back to the matchups and those kind of things and how you see the game. What do you think of the suspension? Do you think that the league had no choice, it was fair, or it was a gross violation of due process?
Gross violation. There's no way. Number one, Patrick Ewing, there has to be some, I know what the book says, but there should be an interpretation of the law. And Patrick Ewing didn't even come over to where the fracas was, and he's going to have to sit out tonight, and I don't think that Charlie Ward was trying to low bridge P.J. Brown.
I don't think he was either. To what advantage?
Him out. Yeah. And for P.J. Brown to throw a good Christian like Charlie Ward, who prays every day on his knees, and throw him on his head, was uncalled for. And Pat Riley, he's behind this.
You think so?
Yes, he had those guys. I wish somehow somebody had a videotape or tape recorder what he said to his players before.
In the locker room before they came out.
That practice.
What do you think he might have said?
Go for broke. Challenge people's manhood, so therefore they equate that with physical play. And, but...
Here's what he said to him probably. He said to him probably, you know what, they think this is over. And it is over unless you can prove to them that you are stronger and better than they are. If you can't prove to them that you're stronger and better than they are, it's over. And everything we believed in ourselves was not true. Are we who we think we are or not?
The quotes from Pat Riley today or yesterday saying that Charlie Ward instigated this, Charlie Ward still thinks he's at Florida State. Come on, Pat.
More than that, he said that, and he said that the New York Knicks had to create an incident.
And then he says, well, I did coach the Knicks, so maybe you could blame some of that on me, but they're wild. When I had them, they're even wilder. Now, get out of here.
He said that team has my personality.
Well, it's kind of sad that Pat Riley and I were born on the same day, too. March 20th.
Now, is part of your love for the Knicks in this particular series also a part of your enthusiasm for this series that you want to see Pat Riley lose?
I don't really, I have no big qualms about Pat Riley. I'm thinking more about Michael Jordan, and just the Heat just happened to be the team that's in the way, and once we dispense it in, then it's on to big and better things. And Michael and the Bulls have been in the Knicks' way for too many years, and I really feel in my heart. I know Patrick Ewing has expressed this too, that this is a year where we finally get over the hump.
You can make an argument, as others have done on this program, that among the teams in the NBA this year, the Knicks are built to beat the Bulls.
I think that even if you look at the playoffs last year where the Knicks lost to Chicago 4-1, they played them, even, and the fact that the Knicks had no offense, that's why they lost the games. But the acquisitions of Allen Houston and Larry Johnson and Chris Charles and Buck Williams, we have some firepower now. And the key game was the last regular season game of the year when the Knicks beat Chicago in Chicago in the United Center. And I think besides Michael Jordan, I probably think the rest of the Bulls are all worried about the Knicks.
Besides Michael Jordan?
Except Michael Jordan.
He's not worried.
Not him, but I'm talking about the rest of those guys.
Michael Jordan, you know Michael Jordan. You work with him. He's your friend. Mm-hmm. He thinks they can't lose.
Well, I
right?
think
because he thinks he's not prepared to take defeat.
Any true warrior, any true competitor will never even consider the thought that they're about to lose. That's what has made Michael Jordan so great. He's a great competitor. Not just he competes not only when he's playing basketball, but tiddlywinks, craps, ping pong, golf. He hates to lose, and for me, what makes great ball players? A great ball player is not just doing stuff, just doing whatever sport you are. A great ball player elevates his teammates. And Mike makes a lot of those guys on Chicago who beat scrubs and a lot of other teams, if you placed them in different scenarios, he makes these guys look like they're great. And I think that's how you gauge whether somebody is great. How does he elevate his teammates' games, and money does that.
Does Patrick Ewing do that for the Knicks?
He's not done that as much. Not consistently, and you can't, he doesn't own up to it. You can't compare to Michael when you talk about that category.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you what's interesting is Grant Hill understands that's what he has to do for the Pistons.
I just wish they changed those commercials, man.
You hate those commercials?
Hate them. And it's not because I'm affiliated with Nike or he's with Fields. It's just playing too much in this goody.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more. I do too.
Hey,
you know
Grant,
what I love the Michael Jordan commercials where he goes out and talks about they didn't think us.
How many shots I've missed.
A failure. Mm-hmm. And failure made me better.
Right.
You didn't make those, did you?
No.
Who made those,
Wyden Kennedy is Nike's agency.
Okay, so they made them. And then a couple of them. One is that, and the other is about he's getting old. Or that was
the
one.
one's in a weight room and he's dunking. The other way he's just coming in to play his entrance.
This book, Spike Lee, Best Seat in the House. How did it come about?
Well, Steve Ross, who's the editor at Crown Publishing, in fact, is kind of funny. It was a Game 5 last year at halftime when the Bulls eliminated the Knicks from the playoffs, and Steve came up to me and said, and introduced himself and said, "I'm the person who's responsible for Dennis Rodman's book." So I was thinking, I don't know if that's a good way to introduce yourself. Because I flipped through that book, and as far as literary or literature, that's like second grade. But anyway, I didn't hold it against him, and he said, "Give me a call when you get back to New York," and we had lunch, and he said that, "I think that if you dig deep enough, you have enough in you with your experience with the game and growing up a Knicks fan from back in the early years, that you might have a book to you." And I thought about it, and I decided I did, and I got Ralph Wiley, a great writer.
Right, he's a great writer.
Ralph and I wrote together the book on The Making of Malcolm X. Ralph was a sports writer for Oakland Tribune and Sports Illustrated for many years, and so we started working on it, and we're very pleased in it. And I think that the mark that there's a good book, people don't even understand basketball or sports can still appreciate this book, and that was really the goal. It was kind of like a fine, a high wire act, because you really want to get too deep into basketball, because then you might go over people's head.
What is it about basketball for you?
Just, first of all, I'd like to say, Charlie, that I love sports, and my love of sports was handed down to me from my father, who always told us growing up that he was a great athlete, that he was a shortstop on the baseball team, the point guard, the quarterback. And so he instilled his love of sports into his sons and his daughter. And I guess I was born at the right time when, you know, back when my age, people my age, the first sport you introduce is baseball. Then comes, you know, football and basketball. But the time I got introduced to basketball, that's when the Knicks were starting to come together. Willis Reed.
This was Willis Reed.
And DeBusschere, and Bill Bradley, Walt Frazier, and
Earl Monroe,
and Red Holtzman. And so that was just a great time to be a kid in New York with Joe Namath on the Jets, and so in the Mets, '69. So I've just followed basketball. I think that it's the one sport that where you really see a person's personality, or where an athlete can truly express himself. They're running around there in their underwear. You know, football, you don't ever see the guys' faces for the most part. I mean, except, you know, nobody knows what those guys look like except Michael Irvin and a couple of quarterbacks. But basketball is a very simple game, pure, but at the same time, it allows people to improvise. And a lot of, you know, and even in the book, Woody Allen makes a correlation, analogy between jazz, improvisation in jazz and basketball.
And you agree with it?
Yes, Woody was right.
Your father was a jazz musician, wasn't he?
Yes, still is.
Still is?
Yes.
Can you play the game?
Nah, not really. I mean, I could play when we were all the same size, but, you know, I stopped growing, and so I just left it alone. But I still play sports. I play softball.
You know about Muggsy?
Muggsy's a freak of nature. I know Muggsy's 5'3", but that's a miracle.
That he is so good.
Yes.
And can move the ball around as well. The Hornets might well have been much more effective in that series if he'd been healthy.
All right, they maybe won one game then, and now it got swept.
Yeah. What else in this book we ought to talk about here? I mean, you talk about some of the games, the best seat of the house. The main thing that you deserve enormous credit for, you sit there and everybody knows you sit right there on the front row. But you didn't start there, is it? You started up in the rafters,
seats.
In the blue seats.
The blue seats.
You bought your first season ticket when?
The day after the Knicks got Patrick Ewing in the lottery. The day after, I was down on...
And what did you do? You went down to something...
Well, as soon as the Knicks got Patrick Ewing in the lottery pick, I called up the Garden and said tickets go on sale 8 o'clock. I was there at 5 o'clock the next morning.
You were?
Yeah.
Now, how old were you?
That's when...
You've been there, what, 10, 12 years?
So I was 25.
You're all what now? You're...
40.
40 now. So that was 15 years ago.
Well, as long as Patrick Ewing's been a Knick, that's how long I've had his season tickets.
Yeah. And then you trade them up? How does that work?
Well, every film, they would move me down.
What you mean? They would move you down?
The Garden management.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So every time you'd make a film,
yeah,
they would appreciate you more.
Well, I don't know about appreciation, but they just knew who I was more. I got more acclaim, whatever. So they would just move me down, and it's where I sit now. 4 years ago, they weren't selling those seats. Those were like the VIP seats. And then I got, on the down low, I got the word that next year going to sell them.
You got what? They're going to sell them?
Yeah, so I just kept faxing the Garden every day. Put me on the list when you do put these seats up for sale. And so when I did, my name was on the list, and so I've had those seats.
How much?
Paying dearly for it.
I know they are. How much do you pay per game for those seats?
Regular season?
Yeah.
This year?
Regular season this year.
I have 2 seats, so it's $1,000 a game.
$1,000 a game?
Per seat.
And how many games did you go to? How many did you miss? I gave maybe the better question.
I probably missed like 5, 6 games this
year. So you're there from the beginning of the season all the way through?
They raised the seats for playoffs.
They do what?
They raised...
Oh, the ticket become more expensive for playoffs. Mm-hmm. So you pay what, 1,000, 1,200, 15?
1,500.
1,500. And your wife, pregnant with
our second child.
The second child.
She's not going tonight.
Not going tonight. So you're taking your stockbroker or somebody like that. Mm-hmm. And who'd you take the other night when I saw you there?
My father-in-law.
Your father-in-law was there. Okay. So, man,
we got a whole... Here's a line.
Yeah, the celebrity line is right there where you are.
No, I'm not talking about this. I'm not
you mean a lot of people who want to get in line to take those seats?
Yeah, they let me know. Spike, you know, Tanya can't go tonight.
I'm your man.
I'm your man.
I'm your person. The joy of it, your favorite player is whom?
Of all time?
Uh-huh.
Walt Frazier.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. Clyde.
You love Clyde?
Love Clyde. He was so smooth. When I bought the Pumas, remember the Pumas with the...
But more so than Earl, the Pearl, more so than...
Oh, yeah, I love Earl, too, but you have to remember, Earl wasn't a Knick first. He played on the hated Baltimore Bullets, and he used to kill us.
The hated Baltimore Bullets are coming back as the Capital Wizards or something.
Yeah.
The new team.
Washington Wizards.
Yeah, Washington Wizards.
Terrible name.
Yeah, but Weber's has had a fabulous year. Juwan Howard has a fabulous year.
I wish they would have won at least one game from Chicago, though. But now they're the team up and coming.
Yeah. I read this book. I'll look at this picture here on the back. There he is, as a young man on the streets of Brooklyn.
Six or seven right there. Ragamuffin, huh?
Ragamuffin, yeah. This is your favorite sport.
Yes. Yeah. Favorite sport.
You'll go to Chicago.
Well,
or you will not go to Chicago because you got a little family problem.
Family problem is that as you stated before, Charlie and my wife, we're expecting our second child.
So she's not going to be traveling.
We're not talking about her. We're talking about me.
Well,
she's told me that she's intimated the locks might be changed if I go to a road game.
If you leave town.
If I leave town. Intimated. She hasn't stated that fully, but the intimation is...
I love it. I love it. So we have what...
So that's why I didn't go to Charlotte, I didn't go to Miami.
So we have what's called here a moral choice.
You know, there's nothing in the book, though. You know, Game 7, the Knicks, when they beat the Lakers, that same night, this is in the book, my father gave a concert. The same night, my mother gave me a choice. She said, Spike, I think you're a mature teenager. Now look, either you could choose to go see your father's concert, and you know he would like you to be there, or you can go to the game. Game 7, it's tied up 3-3. The Knicks win, this will be their first NBA championship.
What'd you do?
What do you think?
You went to the game.
Hey, I said I can see my father anytime.
I've got $50 in my pocket.
What?
Here's the bet. You're going to go to Chicago. You cannot stay
One
away.
game?
Yeah.
I won't be there Sunday.
Okay, but there's a series going on. It's not going to just be one game.
I'll be at one game.
You'll go.
Yeah.
So what's she going to say? She's going to lock... She's going... What?
Well,
you're not taking
with
this
your
threat
$50,
seriously?
I can take his lock back.
You're not taking this...
What?
You're not taking this... You think she's just playing with you?
Nah, she looked kind of serious when she intimated that.
Yeah. Now, come on. This is your baby that's going to be born. I mean, doesn't a father...
I'm going to be there when the baby...
What are you going to do? Talk to God about when this baby's going to be born? And
no,
say,
we were trying... I was saying, we should induce this. We read the gynecologist yesterday.
Is that right? Is it possible?
38 weeks. Charlie, our first child was born at 38 weeks, so the baby's fully developed. The doctor told us yesterday.
Oh, no.
The lungs are fully developed.
Tell me you didn't do this.
The lungs are fully developed. Every day, Ty's saying, "Oh, I can't take this anymore. Why? I wish the baby would come." The doctor said, "Well, we can help you."
So you are actively considering induced labor.
Well, that's a medical possibility.
I'm taking my $50 on the table, off the table. You're going to Chicago.
One game, maybe Game 7, if there is a Game 7.
All right, I want to show you on the sidelines. This was a game I happened to be at, sitting a few seats up from you. Roll tape. Spike Lee on the sidelines, Madison Square Garden. The New York Knicks versus the Chicago Bulls. Last game of the season in which the Bulls visited the Garden to play the Knicks. Here it is. Michael had a brilliant game.
Bet you $10. Oh, God. NBA Sixth Man of the Year, John Stark.
You got a lot of confidence.
I just bet him $10. I said the Stark's going to win a Sixth Man NBA of the Year. Get up, Scotty! Come on! Bob is killing us! Defense! Good call, baby! Get on the back! Good call! Good call! Good call! Hey, that was flagrant. That was flagrant. That was an elbow to the Adam's apple. That's not flagrant. That's a zone. That's a zone. 3. This guy right here. Scotty.
All right.
Now that's how Patrick hurt his knee with Dennis Rodman trying to low bridge him there.
Yeah, without a low bridge?
Oh, that was obvious, that one.
Yeah. What do you think of Dennis Rodman?
It's a psychopath.
Psychopath.
You know he wants to change his he's going to change his name, you know. Orgasm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He's a psychopath, though.
So when Chicago comes, I was yelling fake orgasm.
Your advertising agent. Talk a little bit beyond basketball. What is this about? And why did you get in the advertising business? And
well,
the New York Times Magazine spent a couple of pages talking about it.
Well, it's a joint venture between D.D.B. Needham and myself. They're one of the world's biggest agencies. It's just a matter, Charlie, of me having more control artistically when I do commercials. For the most part, as a director, you don't have a lot to say artistically, as far as creative work, and this was giving me opportunity to have more creative input and also to have ownership, you know. I own 51% of this company, and it was a good move. I didn't have to put up anything, you know. They put all the money up front, and I own 51%.
And what kind of commercials are you going to make?
Well, we've done commercials for the upcoming Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield fight. We have some McDonald's commercials coming up. We have some Anheuser-Busch commercials coming up. One of our clients is a company called Finish Line, which is they're like foot action, athlete's foot in the Midwest. We're going to be doing NHL spots for Fox Sports. So, you know, we're very happy about the amount of work we've got. And it hasn't even been a year. Well, we've been open since January.
Well, you're good at this. I mean, you made all those commercials with Michael, which were your creative input, but you were simply a hired gun there.
Well, I mean, I didn't write. Most of the time, I ad-lib, but I didn't write the spots. And, you know, and after the first couple of years, you know, I really did not edit them either. But this really gives me more creative input and also ownership.
How goes where you would like to be in terms of your overall career? What you're doing, where you're positioned, what kind of films you want to make, the opportunity to make them?
Well, that's a good question. I just want to be in a position where I could get finance. And, you know, it still bugs me that I still yet been able to get the finance with Jackie Robinson. And so what I've tried to be about, Charlie, is find alternative means of finance. And one way, you know, one direction went with is how we raised the money for Get on the Bus. So, you know, just because one of the studios says we're not doing this film, that should not be the end of the road, you know. Foreign money, whatever, you just got, you know, find alternative means of finance.
How about making films for television? Would you do that?
I would like to do a TV series. You know, I don't think I'm going to do any Homeboys from Outer Space, but I would like to do a drama for television.
What's happened to the Jackie Robinson project?
Well, right now that property is owned by Warner Brothers. Took it over when they had that merger between Turner and Warner Brothers. So we've had a couple of meetings, and they seem to be interested in it. But that will not be my next picture.
What else are you doing? What's the next project you got coming up?
Oh, I know I did my first feature-length documentary.
On?
It's called Four Little Girls for HBO. It's about the bombing of the 6th Street Baptist Church that took place in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh,
September
of course
15th,
we all know
1963.
Yeah. So what did you do? You went back and interviewed everybody and talked to everybody?
Yeah, the relatives, the parents, George Wallace.
You interviewed George Wallace?
Yes.
What was that like?
It's kind of out there.
What does that mean, out there? He's not in good health, is he?
No, he's not, but he was still, I want you to see the film. And it's a very, very touching. We really were successful in recreating who those 4 girls were. They got wiped out the ages of 3 of them were 14, and Denise McNair was 11. And that's going to open up in New York, the film forum in July, being several film festivals, and then it's going to be broadcast on HBO in February.
I want to take note of the fact, because you and I have had lots of discussions, and frequently, about race, and I haven't talked about race in this conversation. We'll do it many, many times before because of my interest and yours. But Tuskegee today, a subject you feel very strongly about, and you and I have had conversations about it. The president today forgave on behalf of the country.
Well, I think that's a great gesture on President Clinton's part, but I think that they also have to start writing some more checks, because the amount of money that they gave when it got distributed amongst all the people, all the survivors, was really pennies. So I like to see those survivors get, you know, open up the bank and give them some more money.
Well, at least we're beginning to take some recognition of the horrible, horrible,
terrible
thing that happened. So, go Knicks. It's great to have you here.
All right. Going to see you in Chicago. I mean,
I'll come to Chicago.
Come to Chicago?
I'll go with you to Chicago.
All right. But I'll see you in the garden too, right?
Yeah, you will. Not tonight. Not tonight.
All right. But so, like, I have a seat.
Yeah.
And you have the game's at 8, but you have a show. You're going to cancel the show, right?
Yeah. No, I will do the show ahead of time, and I'll be there.
What happens if? But I don't get the word till an hour before. You got to cancel the show.
We'll see. Here is Spike Lee's basketball book, Best Seat in the House, a basketball memoir. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you Monday night. Frank Gehry, America's greatest architect, will be here. And also we talk about Terrence McNally's new film. See you then.